Hello, good afternoon. It's not even the afternoon. That's a fucking complete and utter lie. Good evening and welcome to the LFC Daytrippers. This is Gav, Emmett, Kev and Chris looking forward to Liverpool v Watford because the football is back. Thanks be to Jesus. I seen something today saying it's the last international break for 6 months. I sincerely hope that is true. We're going to look at Liverpool v Watford in this show. We're going to talk about one or two other few things as well that I'll bring in as we go. This show is brought to you by Féileacáin, our charity sponsor. They're not a sponsor either. I don't know what's going wrong here. They're a charity partner. And we're trying our best to raise €10,000 for them. We're trying to do it by the 10th of June. We are more or less halfway there. We are up against a war, in fairness, when it comes to people donating money. But we'll talk about that a little bit later. We're also brought to you by BetMate. BetMate is a fancy football game that you can play. It's UK based before anybody gets on to me. It is UK based. We have an account through Chris and we play every week. It's very easy to play. The link is in the description, as is Féileacáin's details. And you can get in there, you can sign up, you can get a free pot to see how if you like it and if you don't. And from there on in, it's very self-explanatory. It's a good game. It's fancy football, but there's no budgets as to players and this, that and the other. Pots start from I think £2. And check them out. They're in the description. And we're going to have a little go of BetMate later on as well. Kev, how are you?
I'm good, mate. Yeah, not too bad. Not been on for a while now. I've been enjoying being a viewer for the last few nights. It's been good.
Yeah.
Enjoyed the quiz last night. The quiz was great crack.
Well, you needed a rest during the international break.
I did need a rest, yeah. I needed to catch up with my beauty sleep, yeah. Still haven't caught up on it yet. We're getting there.
No.
But yeah, no, all good, mate. Just looking forward to the end of the beginning of the end now. We're into the beginning of the end.
We're going to get into that in a minute because what a fucking April. It's ridiculous.
It's epic, isn't it?
Chris, I know you have a big thing coming up in your life at the weekend. You're not getting married or anything like that. You're going to watch Liverpool women's play.
No, that's because I've done that one. I've already done that, thanks.
And you're in bits over. Not the marriage, I must say, the game.
I don't know. Mrs. B might be.
Yeah. But other than you literally falling apart at the seams because of this game at the weekend, how are you?
I'm tip top, mate. Tip top. I've just recovered from a work's 2-day conference as well, so I'm knackered from that. So yeah,
sounds amazing.
I'm actually it's brilliant, mate. But yeah, I'm really looking forward to the weekend. It's like a kid for Christmas waiting for this April to start. It's so exciting. It's what you're in it for.
Absolutely is what you're in it for. Emma, how are you, my man?
I'm all good. Good. I'm glad I got this sound sorted out. I don't sound like George Hamilton commentating on the Mexico World Cup now anymore.
You sound very well. But don't jinx it because that mic could fall off the table and everything could go wrong. But are you excited for April?
My legs are. You can probably see me bouncing up and down a bit. I just can't wait to get going now. It's the right. Like I said, it's the beginning of the run in. The race is starting. Who has the minerals to get there in the end? And I think we do. So
good.
I can't wait.
Good. Sure. Listen. Let me show you something. Right. Let me show you something. So, April fixtures. Watford at home on Saturday the 2nd. Benfica away on Tuesday. Next Sunday away to Man City. The following Wednesday home to Benfica. That Saturday we go to Wembley to play Man City. Then we have United at home on the Tuesday. Everton at home the following Sunday. And Newcastle away the following Saturday. 1, 2, 3, 4, 8 fixtures in April. People can see it up on the screen. If you're actually in the chat, hit the like button. I forgot to say that. And subscribe if you want to, share if you want to, and if you want, stick in a comment as well, and we'll try to read some out as we go along. But they are the 8 fixtures. If you come out of that unscathed, you are you're on a sedative going into May, basically. But Emma, I'll stay with you. some fixture lists can look daunting, and I look at them and I'm a bit like you. I'm like, just let's get going. Like, there's just so much excitement around them. I just cannot fucking wait to get going, Emmett. Like, I'm not messing. Like, we're doing this on a Thursday night, and I'm literally, if Liverpool were playing at 6:15 in the morning against Watford, I'm all for it. Just get there as quick as we possibly can, because as soon as this kicks off, Emmett, there's going to be no time to think. It's going to be game. Like, 3 days. Right, okay, there's 5 days to the City game. Then there's 3 days to Benfica, 3 days to City, 3 days to United. Then you have a 5 and a 6 day gap between Everton and Newcastle. But Emma, overall, very little time to think, and you might need those little 5 day breaks near the end of April, especially if we've come through those Champions League, FA Cup, and that City away game where you go, we're absolutely flying.
Yeah, I mean, there's enough time between all the games to grow your nails back anyway, so that you're not biting on knuckle for the next game. But yeah, this is what you watch football for. These are the games, like we've said for a long time. Well, I've said for a long time. As soon as we could draw City in anything, let's give us them. We don't. I don't think we fear anybody. Everybody has said on here. Okay, you might have a preference not to get a certain team. Like I wouldn't have liked them to get Atletico in the Champions League. Not because I would fear them, it's just that because it's the games, the City game was sandwiched right in the middle of them. That's just 2 games you don't want to have either side of the City game. But you have to beat the best to be the best, and yeah, I just can't wait. I can't wait. Like these, I said it the other night. I prefer not to play the teams that are scrapping for their lives, and I think the team plays best when it's big game after big game after big game. The last thing you want, and I'm sure Klopp wouldn't have them getting anyway complacent or anything like that, but I don't. I think City might get a little bit complacent against these smaller sides. They might kind of maybe look past them, concentrating on a Champions League. But it's all about rhythm. Klopp is all about rhythm, and I think you get your best rhythm playing against the best teams. A lesser team can actually break a rhythm. Like even when I was playing football, you hated playing against the team like I'm not going to say lower teams, but the teams that maybe didn't play proper football, they were hoofballs. You know what I mean? So it can be awkward to play against these teams this end of the season. I think I know everybody looking at the run in and thinks that we've got the harder games. I'd nearly prefer the games that we have to what City have.
Red Steve says, loosen the wheels on your bike if you want a matter ride in this. That's a great show. Chris, there's no game in there where you go, there's no team. There's a team there that just haven't got nothing to play for. Like Benfica are quarterfinals of the Champions League, they're flying. We know about City. Watford are fighting for their life. Newcastle, still fighting. And to make themselves absolutely sure. Now, that could change by the time you get to the end of the month, and they could be well clear. And that might benefit us. United fighting to get into the top 4. Everton fighting for their lives. Do you agree with Emmett where you want these teams that need to get something? You know, they have to come out and try to get something from you. And Liverpool love that. All the pressure, all the hype. Liverpool love going in there and going, yeah, let's go, let's have it.
Yeah, that suits us better, doesn't it? Because then it gives space in behind for the likes of your Diaz's, your Salahs, your Manes, which helps. And listen, if this month goes as well as we hope it does, it's going to be 9 games in the month because there'll be a Bayern Munich Villarreal semi-final in between Everton and Newcastle. So we're hoping we're going to have 9 games in April, which is even madder to think about, which is great. I mean, listen, Gav and Kevin, this just feels like the 2000-2001 season. Where it was just game, 3 games a week, which you think would knackered the players out. But when you speak to, you've seen interviews with Carragher, Fowler, they just say, you don't get tired in these sort of moments, that you just want the adrenaline to go for it. So I'm really looking forward to it. I'm just on the countdown and just want to get the first game going. I actually think at the games at the moment, Watford's probably the trickiest one because it's 12:30, it's after an international break, and they're really on the do or die moments now. So I think get the Watford game ideally won early. That sets the marker down, and then see how this reacts to the first time they'll have been going into a league game not topping since November time.
Yeah, well, exactly. We can go top since I think the first time since November. Kev, you're always cool, calm, and often accused of being glass half empty. But come on now, you can't be glass half empty now. I'm not allowing it.
Oh no, excited as the day is long for the month that's in it. But if you don't start it right, it can be tits up by 3 o'clock.
If we don't start it right, Kev,
if we don't start it right, if we don't, here's the thing, right? We've not been playing well for the last month. We've been grinding out results. We've been winning games. We haven't battered anyone.
Thought we were very good at it.
We haven't played anyone off the park. We've done okay in games, and we've managed games, and we've won games and picked up points where we needed to get results. We've been doing all of that. That's fine. Watford, I watched the highlights of the Watford-Southampton game earlier on today, and they're no great shakes. They've got pace up front, but you beat them, and then it starts. Then it's on. Chris is right in what he's saying. It's a 12:30 kickoff. It's the first game after an international break. Everyone probably back at the training ground today. So there's no real preparation for some of them. So it's straight into it, and on you go. But we're in a great position. I agree with Emmett. I'd rather our fixtures than City's. I think City will overthink it in certain stages. We just won't. We've 5 forwards in that can rip sides apart. We have a solid midfield. Everyone is pretty much fit. The subtle injuries that happened just before the international break couldn't have come at a better time, because some of those players will be, needed the break. Klopp played a blinder. And this is just the best time to be a fan. It really is. But 12:30 Saturday is the most important game. Is the most important game. Because if that fucks up, you're on the back foot. We win that, we go ahead of City, that's the pressure all on them. Burnley could do anything. You never fucking know with Burnley. They could put 11 men behind the ball and frustrate the life out of them. You never know. But at least if we put ourselves ahead of them, they have to go and beat Burnley. That's all we can do, is win our games, put the pressure on them. Make them do something. Yeah. Because they haven't had to do that for months. As long as we can do that, then that's our job's done.
Yeah. I think the talk around, we'll get into the Watford game in detail, but I think the talk around going away to City has always been, like, I remember talking probably 6-8 weeks ago and saying, if we can go in there 4 points behind and beat them, we get it to 1 point. All right? If we can go in there 3 points behind, we can get level with them. We can win, but we're at the stage where we're comfortable going in 1 point behind. 6-8 weeks ago, that would have been like you'd have bit anyone's, you'd have bitten anyone's hand off for 1 point behind going into the City game, because let's take our chances in it. And we're comfortable in that, And if we win that game against Watford, we go 2 points clear. All right? And City know they're going to play Burnley. Now, I expect City to beat Burnley. But City know they're going to Burnley going, these fuckers are comfortable a point behind. What if they're level? What if they're 2 ahead of us? How much more comfortable, and how, it's just even that little thing. Because, look, Kev, you speak all the time about fine margins, and, we've seen our way at City where, 0.12 millimetres
and
of a
that's
ball
all it was that time,
right, or 12, whatever the fuck it was, right? And it is such small margins, right? But I feel Liverpool are comfortable in the skin they're in. We go and win our games, and you look after yourselves. And I know we have to go and play City, but it's nearly like Liverpool are going, not interested. We're comfortable where we are. If we even to the point, I think if we went to City and drew and remained a point behind them and went, right, there's 7 left or there's 6 left, I think there'd be 9, there'd be 7 left because of the
7 left.
Yeah, the Villa is an issue. The Villa game was taken away. So I think Liverpool would even be comfortable in that. And I think City know that. City know these fuckers are just comfortable where they are, and they will literally, if Liverpool come through City a point behind, 2 clear, 5 clear, whatever it might be, Liverpool are going to take that gamble and go, right, we'll just go at it. Let's go for it. 7 games away from each other. Let's run it and see what happens. Because they've done it against City before. It came down to a point in 18-19. And then they also know that if they do put the pedal down, which they done in 19-20 around November time, when it really kicked off, that Villa game away, when we took victory from the jaws of defeat. City know if we go away, we'll just go away. We'll just keep going and going and going. So I think it's absolutely huge. But I think Liverpool for me looked more comfortable, and we've seen some quotes from a Man City defender today, which I'll bring up later towards the end of the show. And I don't know why they're talking about Liverpool. Why are you talking about us? There's no need to. They seem to be asked questions, and then they seem to just talk about Liverpool. You know what I mean? It's a bit mad. But look, let's look at Watford at home on Saturday, 12:30. I think it's live on BT. If I'm right.
Yeah.
Chris, you mentioned it's 12:30. It's after an international break. I remind you, the last time we played Watford at 12:30 after an international break, we done them 5-0 at Vicarage Road.
Salah scored a worldie, didn't he?
Yeah, and he done an outrageous assist, and Firmino got a hat-trick. Is it a bit of a myth, Chris, this 12:30 after an international break thing? Because I think it is becoming that. And because they were kind of, if you look at the amount of players that are away for Liverpool on an international break, I don't know how many of them were, but I can't see it making much of a difference overall. I think we just know where our job is. We know what we have to do, and we have to go and do it. Whether that's 12:30 on a Saturday, 8:30 in the morning, 9 o'clock that night, I don't think it matters. I think Liverpool, the way they set themselves up for the last couple of games before the international break, are absolutely gearing themselves for whether it's 15 games, it will be 15 to win everything. And I don't think the time of day makes a fucking difference to us, I'm being honest, Chris.
Yeah, I think it's become. I think where 12:30 was a real issue was, and ironically, they've changed it after Klopp brought us up enough times, was when you had to do a 12:30 after you'd done a Wednesday away trip in the Champions League. That's where it was a ball ache, because it was just too tight a turnaround. Because I think Liverpool's record at 12:30 is actually pretty decent. The 12:30, it's just a bit of a shit time to play football. But at the moment, I prefer Liverpool playing before City, because, touch wood, the time City have dropped points do tend to be when we have played before them. And to be fair, we've roasted the gauntlet pretty well. So, look, I'm looking forward to it. I'm intrigued to see who we pick, because I think there are probably 1, 2, 3. There's probably 4 players that are pretty much a shoe-in, because they've been sat training for 2 weeks. And then we've been helped by the likes of Henderson only played 1 game, and that was the first game. So he's pretty much had a week sat on the bench, which has been helpful. Jones didn't get loads of minutes for England 21s. The ones you probably got a little bit concerned about is Robbo, Salah, Mane, Diaz, who did play a lot of minutes. And Fabinho went away with Brazil, but as usual with Brazil, they don't play very much. So Fabinho is more of travel. And Firmino got a rest, which is, I would expect Firmino to start. And I think looking at Watford, I think there's only our traditional front three, Salah, Firmino and Mane, love scoring against Watford. There's only Ian Rush who scored more goals against Watford than them 3. So it'd be interesting who he picks, actually. But, part of me wants to see Diaz again. That's just because he excites me.
I think Diaz is probably the one that might miss out at the weekend, because he's forced to travel, and he plays the latest, I think, during this week. Emmett, let's call a spade a spade. Watford are in the bottom 3. They're fighting for their lives. I don't know how much of an upturn really they've had since Roy Hodgson has turned up. But by all accounts, they're a little bit more solid. Now, what I will say to you is, I'm looking at that last load of fixtures. They do go and win at Southampton. They get bashed 4-0 away at Wolves. They get beaten at home at Arsenal. They get a good draw away at Old Trafford. They get beaten 4-1 at home by Crystal Palace. They were at the winning away at Villa. Lost at home to Brighton. Lost away to West Ham. Drew at Burnley. Lost at home to Norwich. There's no real form there.
No.
The only real fear you're putting into yourself is the position we're probably in. That makes yourself a bit fearful over any fixture you're really going into, because you're going, fuck, what, it's built into football fans. You're waiting for something to go wrong at some stage, and could have happened this weekend. But like all things being equal, Emma, we should be going into this. We should be picking as strong a side as we can, hopefully. Maybe 1 or 2 that you go, oh, well, I wasn't expecting him, but he's absolutely fine, sort of thing. And just go and win the game like we should. And any thoughts of Watford coming and beating Liverpool or Anfield, for me, is just, it's madness, to be honest with you, Emma.
So, like I said the first time there, that I hate playing these teams full stop. I hate playing them the back end of the season. And then when I looked at it, much the same as you've just called out some of the fixtures there is no form out of the team at all. Dennis has kind of gone off the boil. They've played 29 games. They've only scored 29 goals. So they average a goal a game, but they concede 1.9. We are 2.6 goals a game and 0.7 against. And that kind of put my nerves at a little bit of at ease. So, I mean, they've only got 7 players that have scored in the Premier League. We've got 17. And our top 2 scorers total more than their complete list of 7. So I was a little bit concerned today, and then I looked at this and I don't see anything other than us. I think we could put out 3 or 4 different lineups. And I know like it's international break, and will they play Mo? Will they play Mane? I know Fabinho and Alisson that were in Brazil. Played Bolivia, wasn't it? But I think there's 3 or 4 different sides that we could put out and still should be looking after beating these comfortably. Don't hold me to that now next week if I'm here. And it goes wrong.
Kev, before we get into what team we should pick, what we should look for from Watford, and you know, we touched on already the I don't know if it's a psychological blow, but it's a psychological step if you win early on Saturday. But you said earlier, if we don't start right in this run, you know, it could go wrong. But overall, Kev, you look at the form of Watford. All right, they go win, and it's an impressive win away at Southampton, who've been in decent form. They trouble a lot of sides, in fairness to them. But overall, Kev, they're being beaten by Wolves away 4-0. Wolves don't score an awful lot of goals. They're being beaten by Norwich. You know, they're being beaten by sides where you go, if you want to stay up, you probably have to beat them. You have to be very confident going into this, regardless of what side Liverpool put out, because the way I look at this, Kev, is if we are missing a load of players, and you're saying I'm putting that team out, and we're kind of snookered on this position and that position, and a player might come in and go, I'm going to play next week because I'm a few players out. Literally every player going on the pitch for Liverpool now, Kev, regardless of what team he puts out, have to play their balls off to even have a chance of staying in the side in certain positions. And that's where I am, Kev. If we put out, regardless of what it is, we should have enough to do it because of what we're trying to do and the attitude of players that come in where you go, they want to stay in this side. They're professional footballers, and I think that only bodes well for us.
Yeah, I mean, look, this is a game that what I said earlier on is true. You have to start it right. But this is the game that you could really build a level of confidence going into April with. There's no reason why you can't go and absolutely rip a Watford side apart. And we're good enough to do it. You know, I think we've all written down an 11 here. You know, and I bet you they're all different. And I wouldn't be a bit surprised if all 4 of them couldn't go out and put 5 or 6 past them, if the mindset is right. They're all fresh. Most of them are fit. A lot of them have points to prove. Some of them coming back from international duty disappointed. Some of them ecstatic. And this is, in most ways, a good fixture to get yourself going with. I think the only thing is the scar tissue with a lot of football fans when it comes to 12:30 kickoffs. And the ones that you mess up are the ones that stick in the back of your head. You forget about the ones you win because, you know, you win so many games. But it's one of the few fixtures in a weekend slot that fans across the board genuinely hate. They don't mind the 5:30 kickoff on a Saturday tea time. They don't mind the 2 o'clock and the 4 o'clock on a Sunday. And they don't mind Monday night. But 12:30 kickoffs, most clubs hate it. So it's just one of those things you just got to build a bridge and get over and start it right and go and put a marker down for the rest of the season. You could scare the living shit out of Benfica with a good performance in this Watford, and you can get the confidence of the players right up as well. You go and rattle 5 or 6 on Saturday, and what a way to go off to play Benfica on Tuesday night. You know, and you've got players up front that are rattling goals. You've got a back 4 keeping more clean sheets than anyone else in the Premier League. You know, you're unbeaten in the Champions League this season, or, you know, more or less, bar the fluff that we had against Inter Milan. You know, we don't lose many games. We don't concede many goals, and we score for fun. But for the last month, we were grinding results. And that in itself is brilliant as well. Because when you're not playing well and you're able to still grind results, when you know you have to, you have no fucking choice but to grind those results. Otherwise, you're out of it. That's pressure. That's a way to handle pressure. Like most sides would crumble. Most sides would say one slip and that's it. It's gone. And this side seems to thrive on that stuff. They absolutely love it. They're mental. And it's not until this side breaks up that we realize how good they are. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I think you're going to see the evolution of this side probably this summer and next. And then you'll kind of look back and go, you know what, there's enough of them gone. Where you go, it's a new team. And you look back at that old team from probably 18 to 2018 right up until today. Where you go, it's 4 years, they're unbelievable. Laura Duffy says, hit the like button, everyone. Reclaimer's not happy. He says people are shy with regards to hitting that like button. There's nearly 200 watching, 61 likes, sorry, 63 now. So get to the 100 and then Reclaimer shuts up, usually. And then he can, he doesn't have to. He can keep giving out if he wants. He's a strong, independent woman. That's a joke, by the way. I don't know if Reclaimer's a man or a woman.
Right. It's whatever he wants to be.
Emma, I'll come back to you. We spoke earlier about Watford and they've pace up front. You look at Smiley Sarr, you look at Manuel Dennis. Is Josh King doing the rounds with them? He's had a couple of injuries. He's a good player. He's actually a good player.
Scored for Norway in the international break as well. They beat someone 9-0 or something.
Okay.
Scored a couple.
So they have got threats up front. There's no doubt about that. But if you look at the strengths and weaknesses, Emma, their strengths is definitely up front, and it's definitely pace, and trying to get behind you and trying to hit you on the break and stuff like that. And we're okay with that because most teams play against us like that, and we nearly encourage it to a certain point. But aside from that, I look at them, and the few times I've seen Watford this season, 3 managers they've had, but I look at that midfield and I go, there's just nothing there for me. I remember seeing them away to Leeds, and I thought Leeds are just running through this, and I mean taking the ball 10, 15 yards to their own half and just running with it, and they're on the edge of the Watford box. I don't think their centre backs are any good shakes. I'm not too sure their full backs can handle what we can throw at them. So overall, what are we looking to do? Are we looking to 100 miles an hour? Are we looking to take that risk with that high line, play them on the break, and in turn that suffocates them? It suffocates them to the point where we just continuously go and go and go until we get one early, or we get one halfway through the first half, or 2 before half time, and then you go, right, they'll have to come out to try and get something, and we can hurt them and do the reverse to them, Emma. There's not much there for me. There's not much. I'm trying my best to talk Watford up a bit because I'm trying my best because they're probably in a straight fight with Everton for that last relegation place, and I'm trying to talk Watford up, but I'm looking at it and I'm saying to myself, I just can't see where they get goals or where they hurt us.
Yeah, I mean, you said it, like that their danger area is up front, so they probably will try and, like a few teams have, maybe target down Trent's side or in behind Trent, because apparently Trent can't defend. But they will get caught out by I can't get over I played in defence when I played football. I can't get over how drilled our back line is. It's like it's nearly telepathy at this stage. Like you can see even Van Dijk just glancing over his shoulder and just taking that one step. It's just like he knows where every single one of their players are. Their midfield has absolutely nothing for us. Their defence, I don't think, has anything for us. But in a few games this season, I kind of thought we do sometimes allow teams have the ball and kind of maybe even lull them into a false sense of security that they might have a chance, or we pass it around. You might see 30, 40 passes to try and drag them out from defence, like you said, to kind of open up at the back. But other than balls over the top to their forwards, I don't see any other area in the pitch where they're going to best us. And like I said, we've the best defender in the world there, with the best high line in the world there. they're going to be caught. I think we're over close to 110 times now. We've caught people offside this season.
Yeah.
I just don't see it. Like they've as dangerous as their forwards are. They've only scored 29 goals the whole season. It's their defense is on average. I think it's 1.9 goals a game. They're on average they're conceding. So I don't see them.
And Hodgson isn't going to come out and play football against you. You know, he's probably going to try go long into channels, but we have to probably turn and go, right, we're going to stop you doing that. So we're going to pressure right, and we're going to make you hit aimless balls up high, and our centre halves will deal with it, and our midfield will get on it, and then we go from there. Like Chris, we say it loads of times, but it's all about the pace you start at, the intensity, the intent, and if we put that in place, I think for the first 35 to 40 minutes of this game, I think we'd be sitting there at half-time going, we're 2 or 3 goals up here. And, you know, we can give Salah a rest if he plays. We can give Mane a rest if he plays. We can bring Luis Diaz on, even though he's been away. Or we could give Fabinho a rest. You know, the sort of way. That's so important. Regardless of what we think of Watford, our own mindset is what decides this. If we decide that we want to be 100 mile an hour on top of them, suffocating them, intense, going for their throat, we'll make it work, and we'll make an easy job of it, and actually save ourselves some time on Saturday. By 1:15, we'll be saying this is another 3 points, and we're looking forward to the next one.
Yeah, you definitely do it with the fixture list we've got. If you have the opportunity to kill a game early, take it. So then that's how you get your rotation. That's how you get your rest. That's also how you can cheat in a game. You know, Klopp's often talked about the likes of Salahs and the Manes of the world are very good at picking the moments when to rest on the ball and when to take a sting out of the game. And I think that's what we sort of need to do, really. I think Watford have tightened up a bit more since Roy Hodgson's got there. One thing Roy Hodgson will do is make teams organised, but they just don't quite have enough, I don't think. I think they're probably just going to miss out on staying up. But look, I agree with you. First 20 minutes is key. And I think I can see social media lose its brain. I think you will see the likes of Milner starting, Thiago starting, Firmino starting, Gomez starting, and Matip starting, because they've all been training for 2 weeks, and that'll be the thing you'll say say to Milner, go hard for 50 minutes, and then we'll take you off, and I think that's what he'll do. And people will lose their heads over it, but I think if you have a Milner with Henderson and Thiago, you just tell Milner do the attacking bit and just go at players and do what he does, which is set the tempo, set the precedent. Because I can't see Fabinho starting, not when Laura said he's been playing at altitude earlier in the week. It's just not going to happen. Yeah.
Moving on then, let's have a look at what we think the lineups will be, right? So, I've put out a team here. There you go. Alisson, Gomez right back, Matip, Van Dijk, Robertson. I've put Fabinho in there because I think he could be an option that you play him for 60 and then he comes off, but you feel free to go against that. Henderson, Thiago, Mane. I've gone Mane, Jota, Salah because Diaz has been away and he's in the same boat as Fabinho, but he's only new to the club and he's coming back and he's had a good start. He's had a good start at the club, but I think it might be one where he goes, I'll just stick Jota, Mane and Salah up there and we'll go from there. Kev, you said you wrote down an 11. Is it close to that?
Very close. I have Bobby instead of Jota and Jota instead of Mane.
Okay.
The rest of it's the same. I think Jota came. I watched him for Portugal the other night, and he was good. He was really good. Bobby's been training for a while. He's back from his injuries now. I think he's going to be really important in the run-in. I think he'll play a lot more than what people think. Klopp obviously trusts him. But if you can get him playing to his form, he is the perfect. They call it the Bobby role. It is his role. He is the best at the club at doing that role. Bringing the midfield into play and freeing up the space for the 2 wide forwards to occupy and to exploit. And no matter what Sadio does or Jota does in that role, they don't do it quite as well as he does when he's on song. And this is a good game for him to come back into and start at home against a side that he's got confidence against. He's already scored a hat-trick against him this season. I think it'd be perfect for him. He more definitely needs to blow the cobwebs off. He didn't have a good run after the AFCON, let's be honest. And he could do with coming back and hitting the ground running and getting a couple, and he's been on 20 goals for the season for a long time. What feels like a long time. He hasn't pulled away again, from the chasing pack, so to speak. And I think the game would be good for him. It'd do Sadio no harm to come off the bench or even have the day off if need be.
Someone's tapping their finger or their foot, and I can hear it. I don't know which one it is, but it's in my ear. Who was it? Go on, you can admit to it.
That's probably me.
Is it? Okay.
Huh?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's me.
Okay. All right. His nerves are on.
Yeah.
It's like an episode of Most Haunted.
It's
Chris,
just Kev knows. It's just Kev knows. I think on Friday on the Sports Unplugged, he said if we win the quadruple, he's getting a mohawk.
Did he?
I say
Yeah,
I do it for charity. I get an Arturo Vidal haircut if we
do the
if we
quadruple.
did the quad.
Right, well, there you go. We've said a lot. Brilliant.
Do it for I'd do that for Féileacáin if
Chris,
we do that.
That team up on the screen. What differences would you have?
I've got Firmino starting and Manny on the bench. I haven't got Fabinho starting, and for me, it's a toss up between Milner and Jones. I think he might go for Milner because he's had the 2 weeks off
instead of
Fabinho.
Okay.
So he'll play Henderson as a 6.
Okay, no worries. I want to talk about Salah and Mane in a minute, but Emmett, that's the 11 I have there. Is it close? What do you have?
I'd start Fabinho. Now, I know he's been away, but it was Tuesday night, Wednesday morning. So I'm assuming, as they normally do, is they were probably straight on a plane straight back to Liverpool. I get that he's played at altitude and he probably will need a break, but I prefer him to play and then get his break rather than bring him on. So go as strong as you possibly can, like we've said. Get your lead, kind of get the fight out of Watford and then make your changes.
Okay.
But I'd be going as strong as I would. I would probably leave Mane on the bench as well and play Bobby with Jota in the Mane role.
Yeah, to be honest with you, I think I agree with the Firmino show. I think he is going to play a massive role, not only because he's appeared kind of sporadically since he came back from injury, but there will be times where we go back to the tried and trusted in certain games, certain periods of games, certain starts, where he will just go Salah, Mane, Firmino. And, regardless of Jota, what form he's on, regardless of Diaz, what form he's on, he will look against certain teams and go, I'm just putting the other 3 up front. And I have those 2 boys off the bench. But, like, there's people in the chat and they're calling out teams. And, somebody says, Richard says, there's literally 9 or 10 different lineups I'd be fine with. And that's quite a development. Richard's okay. It's quite a development in Richard's life that there's 9 or 10 liners be alright with. Good stuff. Great to see you getting on. Listen, I think the back 4 probably picks itself. I think Gomez will play. Trent, of course, hamstring issue I think it was, and he's back in full training, and I fully expected that because if there's any inkling that he could have a slight knock, he's just not going away with England. And I'm fully behind doing that. Where we say, no, he's not going. He looks like he's back in full training. I don't think he'll play. I think that back 4 is fine. The Fabinho shout is fair. Toss up whether he plays or not. You could put Henderson in the 6, like you said. You play Thiago because he's been around training. He never went away with Spain. And he could do Jones. He could do Keita. He could do Ox. There's loads. He could do Milner. There's loads of options there. Up front, I just think Diaz gets a rest, but I'm probably wrong on the Jota or Mane probably, because Salah will be banging down the door wanting to play. We know how he works, and if you tell me that you're bringing Firmino in and playing Jota as well, and leaving Mane out, I've no real issue, because I think again we would have enough to win that game, and also we'd still have enough on the bench to bring in as well.
You might have one eye on Benfica as well,
yeah.
Unleashing Diaz on Benfica with the familiarity of him.
Yeah, absolutely. And, going back there and playing as a former Porto player against Benfica, could be a little bit tasty. But just quickly around the table, we've seen Sadio Mane qualify for the World Cup the other night on penalties against Mo Salah's Egypt, and you know it's nearly a replay of the African nations in late January or whatever it was, and you know Salah comes out on the wrong side of it. Salah comes back. He hasn't been in great form since he comes back. He's a couple of goals, I think, since he comes back, but not the sort of blistering form he was in. And I'm not saying he looked like he was feeling sorry for himself. It was just seemed he's hit posts and he's hit crossbars and all sorts of stuff's happened. But just quickly around the table, Kev, any concern from you that another big disappointment? Apparently he's hinting that he's going to retire from international football. Any concern for you, or do you think? And I'm only asking that because of his form since he got back from a massive disappointment in the AFCON. But you think no, Salah's just
no? I don't think so. No, I think I'd be more worried if he wasn't getting chances. And as you said, he's been hitting everything bar the back of the net. You know, he's been doing everything but score. So I've no problem with him. I think he'll be fine. The one thing I'll say with because there's a lot of good African sides that have missed out in the World Cup. You know, the notion that Africa as a continent gets 5 places is an absolute joke. And Europe gets something like 14. You know, it's nonsense that the likes of Nigeria and Ghana, I think, miss out. Egypt should be going. You know, the fact that Egypt and Senegal were the finalists in AFCON and one of them is out because they just happened to draw each other in a playoff to go to the World Cup is a joke. I can see why he's retiring, because some of the stuff that you've seen in the coverage from the AFCON qualifiers, be it pitch invasions, lasers, you name it, it's a nonsense. And Egypt play everything through him. He is so far and away their best player that, you know, it's almost a case without him, they're screwed. They're light years off the pace. But at the same time, will he be able to walk away? I don't think he will. But I was talking to someone earlier on today, and you look at, and we'll get onto it after when we talk about the 5-sub thing. Next season, this season, the Premier League, the football calendar finishes this season June 13th, by the time the Nations League internationals finish. We've arranged a pre-season friendly with Manchester United in Thailand for the 12th of July.
Yeah.
The Premier League season finishes next year at the end of the 28th of May. Mm-hmm. And in that time, you've got a World Cup, you've got 2 domestic competitions, a Champions League, and I guarantee you at the end of it, you've still got a Nations League final and a European Under-21 Championship and an AFCON to go on in next summer. You know, at some point, these players are going to have to look at their viable position going forward as footballers. That when they hit 31, 32, they physically won't be able to do this anymore. You know, they physically won't be able to play 75, 80 game seasons and be involved in that length of time involved in football with no break, especially if you're a forward player where your career is dependent on pace. You know, I can see why he's thinking about leaving, just to preserve his own sanity.
Yeah.
You know, and his own career long-term longevity, because you've seen how fast players can fall off the edge of a cliff. You look at Eden Hazard, you look at Gareth Bale. You know, Gareth Bale went from winning the Champions League with Madrid against us to falling off the edge of a cliff and turning up now and again for Wales. You know, as a shadow of the player he was. Eden Hazard looks about 14 stone, looks like he's had fish and chips every night for the last 6 months. You know, he's gone. He's gone as a player. You know, I'd imagine the players, once they hit 30, I think Jordan Henderson should have done it already. They have to be looking at their long-term club career.
Yeah, I think this is Jordan Henderson's last tournament as an England player, by the way.
Yeah. I do too.
It's interesting, but like, you know, Archie Doolan says, I do think that the to and fro about Salah's contract is playing a part, in his opinion. Chris, Mane is going to come back flying. You know, he's scored a penalty again, and it gets them into their second consecutive World Cup. I think it's only their 3rd overall. But he's going to come back flying, and he has shown glimpses. I think he's done a really good job for us playing through the middle. Where Firmino was out because and you know, Jota was coming back from injury. He's been really good, and we're kind of have them all back now where, although there's 5 options, there's 5 options where they're not stuck to positions. You kind of, you could argue 3 of them could play through the middle, 2 of them can play off the right, 2 or 3 of them can play off the left. There's so many different ways we could do it. And with Salah, like, are you in any way worried that he comes back another big disappointment? This contract stuff is going on. It is going on, and you can't get away from it. Are you in any way concerned about Mo Salah, the form he might, and just where he is in his own head coming back for this run-in? I'll be honest, I amn't, because I think he's an absolute killer.
It's a mild concern because you don't want the distraction around him. 2 big disappointments for his country in a fairly short space of time. He's only human. It is going to affect you. The bit I don't worry about, and I think this will be the key thing, is if we need to give him a couple of games off, I'm less worried now when we're going, well, if Salah can't play, we'll have to throw in Diaz, Mane and Firmino or Jota. And sort of going, it gives you enough options that you can give him a little bit of a breather, which I do think he needs at some point. But also at some point, you do wonder with Salah, he has got that sort of mentality that at some point he'll use this to kick himself on and go, well, I'll show the world what they're missing at the World Cup. I'll show them what I can do against this. Now, I know a lot thought he did after AFCON, but he's too good a player for it just not to not find his form again. It will come back. All players do have dips as well. So the contract stuff, it probably doesn't help, but I think people are being a bit naive thinking he's not aware of all this is what's going on. The antics his agents are playing. Salah know all that. And I personally don't think it's affecting him that much. I think the effects on Salah is more is professional disappointment that he's missed out on 2 very big tournaments, which, realistically now, that's probably his last chance to get to a World Cup, which is, for him is a big loss. As for the AFCON stuff, the whole laser thing, the pitch invasions, and look, it's not the first game. It's happened. It's not the first game. It's happening with Egypt. It is a bit of a nonsense. But I don't know how the authorities stop it. I mean, we know how much they care about African football. Like Kev said, five African sides can get into a World Cup. It's a joke, but then we see some very lower rated European sides getting in. You're going, would they really give you a better game than an Egypt or a Nigeria? I don't think they would. I think actually, culturally and as a spectacle of a World Cup, it doesn't make it as exciting.
Look, for me, I think Salah is the sort that will be like, you hear this all the time, he'll be banging down Jurgen Klopp's door when he arrives back and says, right, listen, the only way Salah strikes me as the sort of fella that may at times feel a bit sorry for himself, but to counteract that just wants to play football and get away from it. You even see him in games where he kind of throws his arms up at times, and not in a way where you go, he's just being an arsehole. He just kind of gets frustrated at times. We've seen it. Like, he's no one's perfect, even aesthetically on the pitch, like in every way.
There's frustration with himself.
Yeah. There's frustration with himself, but you notice when he gets that little bit of a disappointment, even within a game, or he doesn't get a pass, or he thinks he might be through, and fuck it. The way he reacts is to go and look for the ball again. He wants the next. He wants the next thing to happen. So that thing that happened beforehand is gone or away from it. He seems to move on very well once there's action going on, and I think I'm not overly worried about him. I think he'll be absolutely fine, and I think it might be a perfect game for him at the weekend where you're at Anfield. It's a chance to go top of the table. It's Watford. He's great memories of. I think he scored 9 or 10 goals against Watford since he's arrived at Liverpool, and the crowd. You know how the crowd are going to react to him. They'll react really well to Sadio Mane for getting to the World Cup, and they'll react really well to Luis Diaz that didn't make it, and Mo Salah that didn't make it. And it could be the perfect day from where he gets a couple of goals, in a Doran Cup, cheer him off the pitch as he's being substituted because he's got 3 and there's 20 minutes left, and it just ends another thing from that happened earlier on in the week. I want to get predictions because we want to do some betmate stuff, and I want to have a little chat about 1 or 2 things before we finish. Emma, I want to start with you on score predictions. You know the rules. If you say score and Liverpool score, you must give us the goal scorers. Go.
5-0.
Oh, wow. It's like fucking having Andy Arkeet on. Go on.
I'll go Salah 2. Bobby 1. Jota 1. And Matip with a Maisie.
Okay, nice. That'd be a great Saturday. Chris.
3-0, Firmino, Jota, Salah.
Okay. Kev.
4-0, Bobby 2, 1 for Salah and 1 for Jota.
Nice. Okay. Kevin Ball is the first one in with a prediction. 4-0, Salah, Brace, VVD and Diaz. I'm going to go 3-0. And I think it might be 3-0 at half time. And I think we might just take our foot off it and just go, yeah, Grant. You stay over there and don't deny us, and we'll just play a bit of ball for 45, and everyone is happy. Curtis J has 3-0, Mane, Jota, VVD. 3-0, Megan McCallion, Salah 2 and Jota. 2-0 from Archie Doolan, Matip and Salah. Goals was Salah 100%. 100%. Yeah, go on. I'll give Firmino 1 as well.
It's good of you.
Yeah, no problem.
You'd be grateful.
And I think if Henderson plays in the 6, you'll have Thiago and one other. Whoever that one other is scores. So I think the one
I'd
other.
see Naby in the 8, mind, if that's the case. If Henderson plays in the 6,
I think.
Is he fit? Is he fit, Naby?
I think it was only a slight knee knock or something.
Yeah, I didn't know if he was training or not.
I think he might go with Jones. And I'm going to put Curtis Jones down for a goal, 3-0. Owen Walker's 2-0, Salah Brace. Ben Ebbett, 4-0, Salah hat-trick and Diaz. 6-0, Salah hat-trick, says Darren Dunbar. Where's the other 3, Darren? You can't just... Is it 2 hat-tricks he's getting? Red Steve says 6-0, you miserable bar stewards, which you can translate into, you know exactly what he's saying there. Didn't see Naby in training, says Teo. So, we don't know. I think it might be Jones. I think someone made a point earlier about who was at Kirby for the last 2 weeks training. It might have been Kev. And I think that's a very, very...
he scored for the 21s, didn't he?
Yeah, he's away with the England under 21s, but he didn't play much.
Yeah, he scored a nice goal.
But I think, yeah, I'll go with Jones. I think Jones might get a game. And we're all good. Reclaimer says he'll change gender if Liverpool win the quadruple. Never mind getting me a haircut. Boston, more than a feeling, says Mo to hit would work again, but we win. Surprised nobody has mentioned Elliot to start, says Antico. Yeah, could do. If Elliot starts, he'll score. It's whoever's in that number 8 on the right. I think they'll get a goal. And I'm only saying that because I think Watford give you an opportunity to get beyond the midfield and hurt them. And if you have a shot on you, and Jones and Elliot do, in fairness, I think that might be a thing. Sam Tandy, wonder of Jesus, Sam. 1-0, last minute Salah winner. There will be mad moments in this title race now, in my opinion, when we least expect it. I'm not having that on a Saturday morning at 12:30, Sam. So you can fuck right off, all right? We're all, and I say that with the utmost respect to you, Sam. There's a couple of bits I want to talk about in a minute, but bet me, we have to pick this. So before we do, let me tell you the rules as I see them, and if they're wrong, Chris can tell me to wind me neck in. So it's Liverpool v Watford. There it is on the screen. It's £5 to enter this pot at the weekend. Minimum £250 payout in the pot, and you have to pick 11 players: 2 goalkeepers, 3 defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 strikers. 6 of those max can be from Liverpool. And when you have them all picked, you put them into 1 goalkeeper, 2 midfielders, 2 defenders, 2 attackers on the first starting 7, and the other 4 go on the bench. You pick a captain who gets double his points, and you pick a vice captain who gets 1.5 times their points. Am I right so far, Chris?
Yep, spot on so far.
Good stuff. So we have to pick an 11.
Right, let me get the app open.
Okay, so we're going to pick 2 goalkeepers. That's easy.
Yeah, lock the goalkeepers off straight away.
So Alisson and that fella that doesn't age, and he's really good at podcasts. What's his name? Ben Foster. Yeah, does some really good stuff. Podcast wise, really honest. I like him, even though he's former Manchester United. He's a nice fella. Defenders.
I'd have him as a third choice next year for us.
Yeah, good show. Defenders. Let me see. Okay, Jake Simister says, can we please ban Kev from Bet Me? I keep taking his voice and I keep losing. Well, Jack Simister, what's going to happen in about 4 minutes' time is that Kev is going to say the words Fabinho, because he says it every fucking game we play. And so he says Fabinho, don't do it. So that's
Fabinho's
one Watford. That's one Watford, and it's one Liverpool so far. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. So we
assume it's Alisson starting.
Yeah. So we need three defenders, 3 midfielders, 3 attackers. So we're gonna have to put one of each of these is gonna have to be a Watford player. Am I right?
Yeah.
Maybe 2 in one of those positions.
You need one Watford starter. One of the 7
and
has
the
to
rest
be a
of Watford, and you put the rest of Watford on the bench then.
Okay. I think we should start Emmanuel Dennis.
Do you think they'll score?
No.
Then no.
Well,
Start Sissoko. Because he will
the former
be
Spurs
busy.
fella, Sissoko.
Yeah, he'll be busy. He'll
Right,
get a fair
okay,
amount of
yeah.
interceptions
Okay, I'll take that. Take that. Put Sissoko in midfield.
He has a card in him as well, though.
He has got a card in him.
Yeah.
But we have to pick 5 Watford players. So we're going to have to pick, it's going to be like, you're going to have to pick 2 Watford defenders, and along with Sissoko, in my opinion. Yeah.
No, we don't. We can just pick 5 Liverpool players now for the rest of the start.
No.
And then stick the rest on the bench.
Okay, so let's pick 5 Liverpool players.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Including Alisson. So
Alisson's in.
Mm-hmm.
Salah.
He's quite good, isn't he?
Yeah, so Salah's in. It's just who's going to start. I think Firmino 100% starts now. I'm not speaking to you boys. I think you should put Firmino in as well.
Okay.
Yeah.
I think Andy Robbo should start.
I was going to say, yeah.
Yeah, he's going to be the
because he'll take the corners
he's
as well.
going to be the focal point, isn't he, of Gomez's part. So, okay, so Andy Robbo.
Virgil is the other one.
Virgil.
Because I can't see. Yeah. And then it's the midfield question then.
I think if Matip's playing, I think you pick Matip over Virgil. He's more of a goal threat than Virgil van Dijk.
Is he?
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
Does he get points for dribbles?
No, he doesn't get points for dribbles.
He could get an assist, though. He could get an assist.
Yeah.
That's true.
Massive
Put Matip in instead.
I'd put Matip in.
All right. Okay, and then midfielder.
We're going to have to put Sissoko in midfield.
Yeah,
we can
but
pick
we
one
can
more.
still pick a Liverpool player.
Is Thiago the option?
Hold on, who's in midfield so far?
Sissoko.
Just Sissoko.
So we could pick one more midfield. We could pick our Liverpool midfield and then pick another one to put on the bench. Pick a Watford player to put on the bench then.
So we can pick 2 more. Oh yeah, I know.
2 more midfield, one start, one to go on the bench.
Yeah.
So do we think Thiago? 'Cause I think he got 15 points in his last game by the looks of it.
I think Thiago's a shout, yeah. Especially if Henderson plays the 6. But having said that, I think the player that plays as right hand side of all 3 scores.
It's just a case of who do getting that starter right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thiago.
Who do you want to be captain?
Salah.
Has to be Salah.
Actually, no.
What about Bobby? He'll win the ball back up high, so there are tackles. You get points for tackles, don't you?
Yeah.
I was thinking
you also get points for clean sheets.
That's what I was thinking. Robbo for vice captain because you'd like to think he'd get an assist.
Okay.
You get the bonus points for the assists and for the clean sheet.
Would you make Robbo captain then? With Bobby as your vice captain? Because Bobby does a lot of work.
You're the boss, mate.
He better fake.
It's on you, yeah.
Hold on, it's all on me now.
It's all on
It's all
you,
on you now.
Okay.
Unless you win, that it's on all of us.
Right, so Yeah, go on. I'll have Robbo as our captain and I'll have Bobby Firmino as our vice captain.
Okay. I've done that. Right, so we just need to pick three Watford players for the bench now. We need a defender, a midfielder, and a striker.
Well, Dennis is on the bench.
Yeah. As a defender, I put Camara, the left back.
Yep.
And you got to pick another midfielder, yeah?
Yep.
Kuka.
Okay. Right, here you go. All done. So let me make sure I got this right. So we've got Alisson in goal, Joel Matip, captain Andy Robbo, Thiago Sissoko, Salah, vice captain Firmino. And then the 4 lads on the benches: Ben Foster, Kamara, Kuka, and Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
We happy with that?
Yeah. Do you get more points? Do you get more points for a clean sheet, or do you get more points for like blocks, interceptions, tackles? What would add up more?
Well, clean sheets for a goalkeeper defender is +3, and a midfield for a midfielder it's +1. And you say tackles, interceptions. Right. Interception for a goalkeeper is +5, defender midfield is +1, and for a tackle it's +2.
Oh, okay. So it's gone that way.
But it's for everyone.
But what happens if the reclaimer says there Foster might make 10 saves?
Shot save, you get a point for every shot saved.
Okay,
But
and if you don't get if you get a clean sheet as a goalkeeper, how many points do you get?
3.
And if you can see goals, you lose points.
I would assume so. Let me find out. Full breakdown. There we go. Yeah, minus 1 point for every goal you concede.
Yes, so even if Foster makes a handful of saves, he's still conceding 2 or 3.
But if he makes 10 saves, that's 10 points. And if he concedes 3 goals, he ends up with 7 points.
He does, yeah.
Right? Yeah. Whereas if Alisson doesn't make a fucking single save, he gets 3 points.
Yeah, but Alisson will get 10 points from the assist, so we'll be all right.
I think there's an argument to put Ben Foster in the starting lineup.
You could do.
Yeah, put Ben Foster in the starting lineup.
Do that.
Okay.
Change around. I think I've
got to risk it,
yeah. Boys, I bet mate won't be happy now. Gav's realised what's going on.
Yeah, you still keep Sissoko midfield because you can put enough. Yeah, so okay, save that. Right, so we've got Sissoko and Foster started.
Yeah,
all set up and paid for.
No worries at all. So there you go. It's easy. It's an easy game to play. It's an easy game to play. It's not an easy game to win because there's loads. You're playing against actual humans. You're not playing against a computer or odds or stuff like that. It's just the game itself. With the subs, if your player doesn't start, one of your subs comes on and plays, don't they?
Yeah, and they do. If
your starter comes off. If a starter comes off and one of your subs comes on, he takes his place. Isn't that right?
I can't remember. I know if say for example we pick Thiago to start and he doesn't start, they'll put the Watford player in. But if Thiago comes then on off the bench, they automatically put him back in the starting lineup for the correct. But I can't remember if it's the other way. I can't remember if it happens for the other way around.
Yeah. Red Steve has spotted this and I spotted it too. He says, Gav shouldering the blame this week. Yeah, they've stitched me up big time, to be perfectly honest with you. In fairness, couple of things before we finish up. We've done our what have we done, lads?
65 minutes.
Right, and we've done our score predictions and stuff like that. Right, couple of things before we finish. This. Merrick Laporte says, the football we play, no one else plays in the world. It's basically FIFA, isn't it? Where you just tap it across the box and tap it in. But anyway, we're an example of how to play nice football to be superior in all areas. Right? Now, superior in all areas, remember that because he contradicts himself in the next bit. I think Liverpool, would like to take even part of our game. As for something of them, taking chances and benefiting from opponents' errors a little more, because often we have the opportunity and don't make it. We're superior in all areas 3 sentences ago. We let the other teams off, but there's nothing to be envious about. I think
I'd love to know what question he was asked to elicit that kind of answer.
What time is Emmerdale's omnibus on this weekend? Something along
How's
them
your day
lines.
go? How's your
Yeah.
How's your day going?
Who do you
That's it.
fancy for the Masters? Something along them lines. But
That is rent free, isn't it?
I'm not happy
Pity
if my player comes out and says that. Now, there will be fans out there that would say, oh, it's great, look, he's saying this and he's saying that. But if I'm American Laporte, I'm saying to people asking me questions, I'm saying, look, both good teams, great teams, both looking to win multiple trophies. And we come up against each other 2, possibly 3 times before the season ends. Possibly 4, actually. No, 3. And we'll see how it goes. We're confident, they'll be confident, and, we'll go into it and stuff like that. This is where, for me, media training should kick in. There is times where you go, they're just giving stock answers all the time. But this is where media training should kick in and they go, like, you shouldn't be saying all that. We're an example of how to play nice football. They're superior in all areas. I think Liverpool would like to take even part of our game. So basically saying, we're the best ever, we're the example, and Liverpool should be looking to play like us if they want to be superior and play nice football. If you read it actually between the lines, which is horrendous. Taking chances and benefit from opponents' errors a little more.
So we're more clinical.
Yeah,
And
and
we force
do we force more errors? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
Kev, we're not going to spend a whole lot of time on this. But
No.
for you, is that rent free? Is that rattled, or is that him just being ultra confident? Because I think it's something where teammates and possibly managers will be looking, going, "What the fuck are you doing?"
Yeah, you're right in what you said. There's certain questions that you just straight back at the reporter with a stock answer. And right now, at this time of the year, that's what you do. You just lightly praise who you're playing against. Yeah, you give them the nod, but you keep your mouth shut. You know what I mean? Getting it. I can't understand for the life of me what he thinks he gained out of an answer like that. It's stupid. There's nothing to be gained by saying anything like that. And the facts of the matter are, we turn over more balls than they do. We have more shots on target than they have this season. We've scored more goals, and I think we have more clean sheets. So in all aspects of the game, we are better than them. They have one more point than us. So, and I've seen some of the comments in the chat, and they're absolutely right. City bore me to tears. They're effective at what they do, but they're so fucking boring. Side to side, pass it forward, break it down, 1 goal, 2 goals, go to sleep, the game's over. That's it. That's their mantra. If you can frustrate them, they don't know what to do. They really struggle if you can frustrate them. And more sides are looking at Palace and looking at how Palace did it, and more sides will try and do it. Not everyone will succeed, but there's a reason why they drop points against the sides between 7th and 12th. They're coming up against good sides, and they look at them as if they're inferior. They look at them almost with disdain and an arrogance that's not healthy. And that kind of answer is pure arrogance. That's all. That's the only way you can put it down to, is pure arrogance, because they're not as good as what they think they are.
Yeah, and you see,
they're not as good as what they were 2 years ago.
You've seen Bernardo Silva come out with some comments. You've actually seen, funny enough, Kevin De Bruyne come out after they win a game, possibly going back about 8-10 weeks ago, where he says, basically, anyone to stop us will need to be nigh on perfect. And he said it in a kind of way where he went, I don't believe anybody will be nigh on perfect. And then we sitting there going, these fuckers are going to try be absolutely nigh on perfect. So it's a bit of a mad one. Chris, I tweeted when I seen that, I quote tweeted it, I hope that CE Extra, whoever they're called, will come back and have a conversation with me, because I had a bit of time to pass. Like, I want to see more of this. I want to see more of them coming out and saying stuff like this for the next week. Absolutely. And this is what I go back to. We're more comfortable in our own skin, Chris. And I don't even mean that in a completely footballing sense. I mean that in a club sense. And I think stuff like this shows it.
Yeah, it's trying to build that rivalry, like when we had Fergie and Wenger, where they would really go at each other and be quite nasty to each other in the press. That was kind of, from the outside looking, that was the fun of it. I just don't. I think they're trying too hard now to jeeve it. So I don't know if they're trying to do it to almost kick themselves up, saying, "Look, we've kind of blown a 14-point lead here down to a point. We need to sort of kick on again." But they're just doing it such a wrong way. I mean, I think Lord Duff said the question was, "Is there anything you can learn from Liverpool?" Straight at it, going. We're always looking to adapt. We're always looking to learn. There are things we can improve on, but we'll keep going. We're doing well as we are. Something like that. That's quite. That's how you do it. Or Andy Robbo, after they beat Arsenal, he's just said, "Look, we've got ourselves a point closer, but I'd rather be in their position because they've got the extra points. Until we get ahead, if we get ahead of them, then it's different. Don't give yourself the headline, because it's just a silly distraction you don't need." So I don't know. I don't get it personally, but
Does it, Emmett? Does it put more pressure on when you see City talking like this? And look, it's only one player saying it, but we've seen little bits from different players over the last couple of months, and I think when they don't beat Palace, I think it's when Bernardo Silva has a little bit of a meltdown, but he's a little shy bag anyway. So, I'm all for it. But does it put more? Is it heaping more pressure on them by talking?
I think 100%. Yeah, I think what it comes across as is, or they think it comes across as, is that they're trying to convince everybody that they're that good. But everybody looking at it, it comes across as though they're trying to convince themselves that they're that good. That's what I mean. It's kind of nearly trying to, like you said, G themselves up, or that's the way it's coming across. Yeah, keep talking about us like it's rent free. I while you guys were talking, I was trying to think back of any other time where I heard a player from a team that's going up against another side toe to toe for a title, essentially like try and put the other team down. Like, you know what I mean? Even when you're listening to our players, they're always saying that City are a great side. You could, like, do you know what I mean? But this is like having little digs, and you're kind of thinking it's definitely panic. They're rattled, 100% rattled. Somebody said there saying, "No, we're in their heads. They're rattled. They're looking over their shoulders." Pep spoke about it earlier on in the season. We're a pain in his arse. So
he wasn't even asked.
That's it. That's it.
He wasn't even asked. He just held the press conference for it. It's
definitely it's in their head. 100%, we're in their head now, and they are looking over their shoulder. Like you said with De Bruyne, he thought it's going to have to be something absolutely spectacular to try and catch us. But our team have done absolutely spectacular things, so watch out.
It's like when people how many European sides fall into the trap of, "Oh, it's Anfield away. We've played a big stage before. We won't fall for this." You're going, you're given the ammunition. Because if I was Sky or BT, or whoever's interviewing Pep, if they drop points to Burnley, which I think is highly unlikely, but say they do, the first question you'd ask them is, "Well, were Burnley far superior today then? Because, according to Laporte, you're superior in everything." You set yourself up for just stupidity like that. Make life easy on yourself.
The 5 sub rule will come in from next season, and I think I was having a chat with Dave Downey, the Everton fan, today about it on Twitter, and Dave's a lovely fella. He takes your points, he makes his own, and he comes back and he has the conversation. I think it's absolutely perfect sense to bring it in, and the whole argument. You know what? I'm going to keep this for Sunday night to have a real chat about it, because I think it deserves more time than we're going to give it, because I think it's ruffled plenty of feathers, to be perfectly honest with you. So I'm going to try to keep that a little bit for Sunday night. Liverpool look like they've confirmed or will confirm a deal for young Celtic player Ben Doak. Wasn't under contract at Celtic, but I think £600,000 in compensation has secured his signature. He won't be able to play for Liverpool academy until the start of next season. He's one to watch out for. I'm going to try get a Celtic fan at some stage to come on and talk to me about that player, because I'm always intrigued when Liverpool go and sign a Scottish player, and it's always one way you go, oh, something about Scottish players where you go, they seem to just garner more interest. When you think of Dalglish and you think of Souness, Hansen, it's always something where you go, oh, you know what, let's Andy Robbo, let's have a little talk about that. So I'm going to try to do something over the next week or so. We're definitely going to try to do that. We're going to finish up, but Féileacáin, the link is in the description. I've no shame in saying that I'm begging you to help us with this in any way you possibly can, whether that's a donation, sharing it across your social media, sharing it between friends, family, colleagues, go into work. Like, do what Kev would do. Go into work, tell everyone they need to shave their heads, and they all need to bring 50 quid sponsor cards with them, and shave your heads, record it, send it to us, and we'll back it 100,000,000% and make some money that way. But we really want to get to 10k. We understand what's going on in the world, and we understand people are very, very generous with their money or any spare money they have to give to charity and help what's going on in the Ukraine and stuff like that. But if you have a few quid, absolutely help us out. The link is in the description. 10k is a lot of money to a lot of people. It's not a huge amount of money in the grand scheme of things when you look at what charities can raise on a regular basis, but 10k to Féileacáin will make a massive, massive difference for years. So we're absolutely begging you on that. We're nearly halfway there on it. We only have about 10 weeks left, I think, before our golf day, when that culminates in the end of the supposed fundraising events or fundraising drive. But listen, if we have to go beyond that and it takes us till Christmas, I won't stop until we get to 10k anyway. But if you can help us out by sharing it and doing whatever you can to help us out, if you have any ideas, if you want us to send you a sponsor card with Féileacáin and LFC Daytrippers on it, I'll design it up and I'll send it to you to print out, and you can fucking get your mates to sponsor you while you're doing that 10k, or trying to lose weight, or trying to come off the smokes, whatever it is, right? Just help in whatever way you can. And as I said, if you can't with money, please do it by sharing it, because it's a brilliant, brilliant charity. Everyone that I've spoken to that have been on this show, in the chat, spoken to privately, are like, Jesus, when you read about that charity, it really, it shows how important it is. It's not a very well-known charity, but it shows how important it absolutely is. So please, help out if you possibly can. And look, I've taken up 4 or 5 minutes of your time talking about that, but I think I genuinely think it's probably more important than the football we've spoken about for the last hour and 15 minutes or whatever it might be. Last thing though, our Telegram app is flying, and people are loving it. There's people in there chatting about Liverpool, they're chatting about transfers, they're chatting about random stuff as well, of mad stuff. Very easy to access. If you subscribe to this channel and you go into our community tab, you will find the link for our Telegram app, and you go in there, you click on it, you sign up. You can sign up for absolutely free, or you can sign up for $2.99 a month. The $2.99 a month gets you exactly the same stuff as you get for free, but that $2.99 goes towards charity. It was going to go towards the running cost of that app, which there is a cost every month to us, but we're going to shoulder the cost to allow any money we get from subscriptions to go to charity. We let it build up over a couple of months and we send that off. But if you're a Liverpool fan, you like talking to other Liverpool fans, away from the likes of Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, it's a great place to go in. You get to know people in there. And as I said, there's no, nobody's judging you in there, nobody's saying you're this, that, and the other. You throw out an opinion. People will disagree with you, but most of all, they will respect you and they will have a laugh. A community is building in there, as well as on here on YouTube and across our social media. So check it out. It's absolutely free if you want. You can donate $2.99 a month towards our channel, but as I said, every $2.99 will be taken and given to charity at a further point. Kev, anything else before we go?
No, that's it. Back tomorrow night for Sports Unplugged. Be just a Premier League review tomorrow. There's not really much else on apart from WrestleMania, a bit of hurling this weekend. So,
okay.
But it'll be a full Premier League review for the weekend, and Chris will go into his trip to Bristol and what he's looking forward to as well. So,
good stuff.
We're looking forward to that tomorrow night at 10 o'clock.
Yourself, and Luke, am I right?
Yourself, Chris, and Luke.
Yeah, good stuff. Chris, anything else before we go?
No, I'm going to have a counselling session tomorrow with Kev because my head's kettled for Sunday. You think 1 point
away to Bristol, Liverpool women away to Bristol. They need a point. They need to avoid the fee to be.
They need 1 point in the next 3 games, so I'm taking the little one away to Bristol. So hopefully, but my head's been kettled for the last probably 4 or 5 weeks. So Kev's been counselling me. I think I've had a few of the others trying to calm me down. This is more stressful. This is more stressful than running.
I think they win 3-1 on Sunday, just for sure.
I hope so.
And the Irish girl up front, Kieran, she gets a couple.
Be nice. She's been off the boil last couple of games.
Yeah, but she'll come back.
Stangel sort of took the focus off her.
Yeah,
which is a nice thing.
She'll come back and she'll score
The key
twice on Sunday.
The key one is the other Irish lady we have, Megan Campbell, who can throw it further than Rory Delap. It's absolutely unreal, her throwing. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay, well, couple of goals off them throw-ins and we'll be absolutely flying. And hopefully Liverpool win, get the result of the weekend and get promotion to the Premier League. Emma, anything else before we go?
No, nothing at all. Just looking forward now to Saturday. It's my least favourite kickoff before the game, but if you get the result, it's my favourite kickoff. Because you have to sit back and relax and watch how everybody else does.
Exactly.
And just I was having a look there while we were talking. I think City only play before us one more time this season. All the rest of them, we're either playing them or we play ahead of them. So.
Nice.
Lovely.
Okay. That's been it. That has been another midweek fix. We had one last night and we have one tonight as well. Thanks a million for watching. Thanks a million for all your comments. Thanks for all the likes, subscribe, shares, whatever. If you're going in to check out Féileacáin, thanks a million. If you're going in to check in BetMe, remember, gamble responsibly and enjoy it. And as I said, if you want to join us on that Telegram app, it's very, very easy to do. And the link in the description is there for all of them. So have a good one. Talk to you in a bit. Over and out.